Tonight, OpenAI and Microsoft begin to patch things up. They had some disagreements. Databricks AI chief jumps ship to build a new type of computer, and Nvidia has a new innovation that raises the bar on running AI models while reducing the cost. This is the soft launch edition of New Tech Nightly, recorded tape to live from the Big Pink building in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. Let's jump into the news. So OpenAI is working on a $1 billion restructure with Microsoft. There's been a lot of drama between Microsoft and OpenAI because obviously Microsoft has a huge investment in OpenAI, but OpenAI wants to stay independent and benefit from all the compute and capital that Microsoft can provide while still building towards AGI in the way that they want to. The news today is that both companies signed a non-binding MOU, that stands for Memorandum of Understanding, and it revises their partnership after tensions over cloud access and the AGI clause. And that AGI clause basically would allow OpenAI to break off from Microsoft once they've achieved AGI. So in this agreement, OpenAI's non-profit arm will retain control of the for-profit side of OpenAI's business, and the nonprofit will receive an equity stake worth $100 billion plus in OpenAI's for-profit entity. And Microsoft, which has poured over $13 billion into OpenAI, gets to lock in access to their tech as it grows. Microsoft shares jumped 2.4% in after-hours trading on the news of the partnership truce. So I think this is seen as avoiding a situation where Microsoft and OpenAI become bitter enemies, because there was some reporting over the past few months about how the deal between Microsoft and OpenAI was actually going really sour, and Sam Altman was asked about it multiple times, and he kept kind of smoothing it over, saying, no, we might have a few things that we're working on, but it's going to be fine. But again, the reporting was saying that it could literally just fall apart at any moment. At least that's what the reporting was suggesting. But this news seems to confirm that they're both on the path to having an enduring agreement and working together for the foreseeable future. Next story, the big data company Databricks' AI chief has exited to launch a new computer startup. Yeah, so this top executive, he was the head of AI for Databricks, is stepping down to found a startup building a novel type of computer aimed at slashing AI computation costs. That would be great if they could do that, because obviously cost is one of the big questions that comes up around deploying AI in businesses. So if you could pull this off, that would be a great reason to jump ship from a very successful company. I mean, most people might not have heard of Databricks, but they're a giant company. In fact, they just raised $1 billion to cement their status. And if you're curious what Databricks does, they're a data intelligence platform. So think data sharing, orchestration, warehousing, things that are important for businesses who are leveraging AI or working with vast amounts of data. They work with giant companies like JetBlue and Condé Nast. So the head of Databricks AI jumping ship doesn't necessarily mean Databricks is in trouble at all. It just points to how much perceived opportunity there is right now to build an AI. And we see executives from a lot of AI companies leaving to start their own businesses. You saw this a lot at OpenAI, and now we're seeing it at Databricks. Our next story, Jared Kushner's new AI startup BrainCo debuts with a $30 million raise. A lot of big investors into this company like Reid Hoffman and OpenAI's Fiji Simo, Coinbase's Brian Armstrong, and more. But what does the company do? Well, they provide an AI platform for apps for the world's largest institutions. Essentially, they're selling the proverbial picks and shovels to deploy AI in sectors like construction, energy, healthcare, and hospitality. Why is this different than any other AI company? Well, they claim that their apps automatically incorporate the latest AI models as they emerge, and this continuous upgrade approach aims to solve a key enterprise pain point, which is that often AI software is obsolete by the time it's deployed. So that makes sense to me, but at the same time, it also shows how frothy this market is. So look, Jared Kushner's been involved with a lot of businesses, so this company is probably going to benefit from his connections, but marketing-wise, I don't think it's always necessarily a good thing to have his name attached to something, but I guess since they're just focused on business solutions, it'll probably work out. I think in addition to businesses, they're also focused on helping governments implement AI. There's actually two other founders besides Kushner, famed investor Elad Gil and ex-Mexico minister Luis Videgaray. So it seems like this company is less about the technology itself. They're just going to be using all the latest models, and it's more about the connections that founders have. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll also make some innovative technology. Currently, they've already partnered with 10 Global 2000 firms and even have a strategic relationship with OpenAI. Early projects include automating building permits, optimizing factory energy use, and streamlining hospital patient care. Next story, Nvidia has unveiled specialized inference chips, and competitors are stunned. And look, we all know Nvidia's already dominated in AI training, and now it's fortifying its lead in AI inference, which means the process of actually running the AI models. They have a new chip named Rubin that handles the front-end AI queries and apparently it drastically cuts costs for long prompts. So this is a big deal for making chatbots and other apps cheaper to run, and it's sending rivals scrambling. Analyst Dylan Patel says the advancement makes Nvidia's rack-scale AI systems canyon-sized ahead of competitors. So again, it's focusing on the front end of AI queries known as the pre-fill phase. So as AI context windows grow, the initial embedding and attention pass can be very compute intensive, but memory light. So using a specialized chip for that pre-fill stage could massively lower the cost per million input tokens. This just makes AI cheaper. This move really underscores Nvidia's strategy of innovating across hardware and software, and just staying ahead as one of the indisputable leaders in AI infrastructure. And speaking of Nvidia, our next story, OpenAI and Nvidia are investing in UK data centers. Apparently Altman and Jensen, the two CEOs, are headed to the UK next week, where they're rumored to pledge billions for new AI data centers. They're teaming up with London's N-Scale to build out this infrastructure in Britain. This is honestly a big win for the UK government as it's trying to angle to be an AI hub. Now in other news, cryptocurrency stablecoin company Tether is launching a US dollar stablecoin called USAT. So they already have USDT, which is one of their crypto stablecoins. A stablecoin is just a digital currency that is pegged to a asset, such as the American dollar. So in theory, the stablecoin should always be matched to the value of what it's assigned to. So in this case, it should always match USD. Now, of course, there's been a lot of drama over the years with different stable coins. So yeah, it doesn't always work. So on first read, I'm kind of confused why we would need this. Like, how is it different than USDT? But apparently it will be issued by a US licensed bank to comply with the new Federal Genius Act regulations. So that means that they have USDT, which is just less regulated, but they want a more regulated version of their other stable coin, and they'll be working with a US licensed bank. They've even hired a former White House official, and USAT is expected to roll out by year end. But look, if you hadn't heard of Tether before, this company has had so much drama over the years. A lot of people accusing Tether of being fraudulent, not actually holding the reserves, because when you have a stable coin, it has to always stay at the value of the US dollar if that's what it's paired to. And to do that, you have to have real dollar reserves to back those digital tokens. And Tether has had so much drama over the years over just potentially shady things happening, but they've persevered and they're still around. And I guess with the Genius Act, they are not going to be able to bring their USDT, their flagship stablecoin, and that shows that USDT doesn't meet all the new regulations, so they have to start from scratch with a new one. All right, that's it for Friday's show. We'll be back tomorrow on Saturday, but thank you for watching, and if you want to host this show and you live in Portland, Oregon, we're actually looking for other hosts, so you can email hello@resonant.works if you're interested. Have a good one.